Ahoy! Flame cores are important for a lot of things on the new patch. You need them for the new Human Bane trophies, you need them to upgrade the new Heartrune, and you also need them for various tasks on the journey in the Season Pass. And one of the big challenges actually requires you to craft 30 unstable casts, which is 300 flame cores. We will compare some different farm methods, and by the way, this video is sponsored by Nwdb. We will get to that a little bit later. So there are 3 different farm methods that I'm aware of to get flame cores. The first one is to do the Empyrean Forge expedition because the mobs there can drop it. Forget about this method right away. For most groups, excluding speedrunners, a run takes around 30 minutes and usually you get maybe 1 or 2 cores on a run. If you're very lucky, you maybe get more, but generally speaking, you will not get many cores. I've ran the expedition 25 times and I've had many runs where I didn't get a flame core at all. There is a second farm that is less known that is similar to the Food Glyph and Ancient Glob farm that I posted about when Brimstone Sands came out, which actually still works today. In one of the side areas in the Talos Foundry there is a named mob called Sir Halfdan the Smith. And around this guy are quite a few mobs, and if you have a lot of people in that room, then these mobs as well as the named mob will respawn fairly quickly. Killing more mobs and especially named mobs means a higher chance to get flame cores. With this method, within 21 minutes I was able to farm 3 cores. That is clearly not enough considering the amount of cores we need, so I would say both of these methods aren't really worth it. Now you may be wondering why that is, and for that let's take a quick look at New World Database. What we can see here is that the drop chance for mobs for flame core is always 5%, no matter what mob you're looking at. This may or may not be influenced by luck. I don't think it is in this case unless they have specifically coded it for luck, but either way, not important. What is important is that the chance here is just 5%. And this means that you have to get a drop in the first place. You don't actually have a 5% chance, and then if you get a drop, there is a 5% chance to get this. That's why from named mobs, which are pretty much guaranteed to have a drop, you are more likely to actually get some, because from those, you actually get it with a 5% drop chance. But that's still very, very low. Compare that to the drop chance from other chests and crates. So you can see from the Elite Ancient chests, we have a 50% chance. From the Alchemy crate here, we have a 15% chance. And from other chests in general, we also have a 15% chance. But considering how quickly you can loot through a few chests, and you will always have guaranteed loot from those chests, so you always actually get a 15% chance instead of a chance on top of a chance, you get a lot more flame cores this way. How much more is a lot more? On the run that I'm doing, you can get roughly 15 flame cores in around 15 minutes if you're fast. If you have a slower group, a smaller group, it will be a little bit longer, and sometimes you may be a bit unlucky, but usually I got between 13 to 17 cores on this run. I'd like to thank Zhao Yao, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, who was the first one to show me these locations on my Patreon Discord. So the route has 3 locations, 1 in Ebonscale Reach and 2 in Eden Grove. The one in Ebonscale is best done with a group or as a larger group chest run, whereas the other ones are easily soloed. The one in Ebonscale also comes with a typical elite chest cooldown, while the other ones can be repeated whenever supply caches and so on are up, so I think it's just an hour cooldown. And this is where Nwdb comes in. To make these chests easier to farm, I've created farm routes on their website, so you can see exactly where you need to go and you can just follow along with that. I've linked all the farm routes in the description for your convenience, and you can also find them by just searching for Duke SLOTH in the route section. They will all show up there. If you want to make it even easier for yourself, you can use the Overwolf add-on in combination with Nwdb, which will allow you to track your character's location. New World has recently made some changes to their TOS, so the location tracking isn't quite as precise as it used to be, but Nwdb has already found some new ways to improve tracking. If you use the Overwolf add-on, then you can track yourself on the Nwdb website. So what you can see here is my browser in the top right on the second screen, and you can see my character moving along on that route, so you can track directly where on the route you are. You will have to wait sometimes for your cursor to basically find the exact right location, but generally speaking, this helps a lot with following along with routes. I've left a link for the app in the description as well. I'm going to show you the entire route here as well, and this is starting from us entering a Talos Foundry. You want to go to the left because you can find one of the chests here. Watching this at 2 times speed, the whole run with all 3 locations took just a little bit over 14 minutes, so we're doing it at 7. You want to go up the stairs here, and to the left you will find a little cache hidden away a little bit, and then you want to head over to the right side. You have a few mages here you want to watch out, and you want to pick up the first elite chest here. Definitely make sure to grab those. Then we're going up the stairs and to the left, and there is another chest here. Keep in mind, this entire run can be done solo. You see, for example, next to us there's some boxes that you can go on top of and actually reset the mobs. But you have to have a fair bit of con. In this room we find the next chest, by the way, the supply stockpile here. And you can also jump on those beds very often to reset aggro. But you will have to be somewhat survivable. Maybe have like an ice golem or life stuff or something. Because the mages can put ice storms on you when you're on top of that and they hurt a lot. Or some of the mobs can charge you and do the shock damage and all of that. In this room we have the smith. That was the one that I found before. Like I said, not worth it by itself. We have 2 chests here as well, for a little supply crate, and then we also have an elite supply chest. After that you have a mob that you probably want to kill most of the time. On this run we didn't do it, but this heavy guy here can do exactly that shock damage that I'm talking about, and if he hits you, he can run over you. In the statics area we have 2 little supply crates, or yeah, supply cache, supply crates. And then you want to go over to the other side of the castle and just jump down here. You don't actually need to go around. And here you will find some supply crates and another heavy. But that guy sometimes doesn't even attack. This is actually very easy to reset on your own as well. So you want to pick up those 2. And then make your way up to the right. There is a little cache to the left here under the bridge. I skipped that here first. There's some mages. I like to kill those first because it is really annoying. And then you have another elite chest here. I got slapped a little bit there, so we had to take a little break, and then we're grabbing the chest here. And then to the left, there is another chest. Not an elite chest, but another supply stockpile. And then, if we're heading up here, there's the other small pile, a small crate that you can pick up. And then we're heading up to the boss room already. So, very, very quick run. I did it with friends a few times with 5 people, and just killing all of the mobs. Not much slower. You see a little chest to the end of this room. Here's a lot of mobs, a lot of ice mages. But here's that little supply crate, which we can pick up. And then we go up to the boss room. Here you have quite a few levels that you want to get up first. Again, there's some mages here, some mobs here. You can kind of kite them up a little bit if you want to, but you want to be somewhat careful at least if you don't have a big group. Generally, I would recommend doing this with a group. It's just easier, and there are usually chest runs. There's a little chest here that you want to pick up. And then we go into the top room. And the top room is always a bit of a headache because people like to loot the chest first and then accidentally pull things. I actually dropped down on the ground here a little bit. We can kind of skip over that. After this little lap, we are now going up to the next room. And here we have that one heavy, and then we also have the final boss here. And you can see the heavy cleared out the room a little bit. So yeah, just kill them first. It makes it easier. The boss itself you don't really need to kill because the loot that you can get here is the same from all named mobs. He doesn't really give you anything special, and once you have them once, you don't really need them. So if you farm any of the mobs here, you get them very quickly. And then you want to drop down, and we actually go into the other side. This is where the tier... Well, it's a tier 3 trophy med farm is the human... I don't know what it's called, the human idol. Whatever. But yeah, there's a little crash in there on the side. And then you have Sajuni here. He drops a trophy med. And next to him you also have an elite chest, which we definitely want to pick up. And after that there's like a little bit of an extra stop on the route that some people may not know about. Which is in the back of the ship. There's a little crate. And that is the first part of our route here. But then we want to head over to Eden Grove. In Eden Grove, we have 2 extra locations. The first one is to the south. It's right next to the fast travel point. We're going to start from the extra castle. You want to go to the right side of the castle before you even go in and pick up the Iron Battle Medal. Again, you can see that all on the Eternal map. And then you want to drop down here and get the supply crate. And then you're going to the back area already. We kind of have to loop around. Here you have an extra large cache that you want to pick up in one of the tents. Yeah, I can make stockpile here. And then you want to go downstairs first. There's one chest here to pick up, one small chest, before you go upstairs where the rest of the chests are. You have the boss here. Sometimes people are fighting him, sometimes not. You have the 3 stockpiles. You definitely want to make sure to get the stuff. You can completely avoid the mobs here because you can lay down behind the chest and reset the aggro from the boss as well. I wouldn't really bother killing him because he doesn't drop anything. So it's just a waste of time, effectively, unless you want to have a bit of a challenge. Then if you jump down here, there is one more supply cache that you want to pick up. And then we kind of loop around a little bit. If you go up here and then turn to the right, up the stairs here is another small supply cache. Usually there's a mob here, it's dead right now. To the left, if you go a bit further here, right here basically, sometimes a named mob. If you need that for the challenge on the season pass, you can do that. And then here you have the last chest. And that brings us to the other location, which requires you to run down from the shrine. I factored that in for the time here. So the total time is 14 minutes, including this one. But we're going to skip this part because you don't really need to see how I run down. And this is when we are getting out to a location. If we include all the loading screens and teleporting from one town to another and everything, I would say the run takes about 15 minutes, give or take. First cache is here, by the way, up top, and then another one at the bottom. Obviously, if you have a slower computer, a slower hard drive especially, that can increase the time it takes a little bit, but it shouldn't be too much. If you loop around here, there's a little chest to the left, don't miss that one. Gotta kill that mage here. And then we have the most hidden chest in the whole thing. It's really funny. It's actually hidden in a place that looks like you can't walk in there at all. It's behind this crystal. You can actually jump over the crystal, or you can go under the crystal. And then if you hop around here, there is an ancient chest. Very well hidden. Very, very nice. And then you have 2 more chests on the way. I actually did this run once and basically didn't get any flame cores at all, the first 2 parts, except, or rather the last 2 parts, and didn't do the elite part. So I was incredibly unlucky there, but usually you can get a few flame cores on the way here. So it just really depends. And then we have our last mobs here. You can probably skip Aiden somehow, but usually I just kill him because he doesn't take that long comparatively, other than the compared to the Void guy. And then we've last alchemy stockpile here. Got some poppy seeds instead, also not bad. So that's the full route. I dropped off my flame cores between the first and the second part of the run. As you can see from the second part in total, I got 4 flame cores. From the elite area, it showed 8, but there was a 9th in the last chest. It was just glitched and didn't display that I got loot from that. So overall 13 on this run, but that's a relatively low number. Like I said, I've had 17 before, usually around 15. It just depends on how lucky you are on each individual run. While the first part, including the elite chest, can only be done once per day, the rest of the first part can be repeated, and the other 2 routes, which you can easily solo, can definitely be repeated, again, as far as I'm aware, once per hour. How much gold this farm translates to highly depends on the server you're playing on. On my server, the price is actually going down pretty hard to nearly 100 gold per flame core, because there are a lot of people farming it in general, whereas on many other servers the price is closer to 200 or sometimes even 300 gold. So on some servers you'll only be making a little bit more than 1,500 gold in 15 minutes, while on other servers you may be making up to 4,500 gold in that time if you sell your flame cores. What's nice is that unlike something like Golden Scarab's farm, the farm is a lot more guaranteed and you will consistently get at least a few flame cores to sell, which makes this one of the most consistent farming methods. Again, all the links to the routes on a Eternal map are in the description, and if you want to make it even easier to track your path, you can use their Overwolf app. Tomorrow we'll have an in-depth DPS comparison for various weapon choices. If you're interested in that, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you get notified when that comes out. And for early trading tips, you can head over to my Patreon. Thanks to my patrons for supporting this video, and thanks to Eternal Map for the partnership, and also thank you for watching. Duke Sloth, out.